welcome to Using Headings. This fulfills A6 and D1 of the CDC rubric. Basically, this just goes over how to use headings and why they're important and how they make our online courses accessible. The two elements of the CDC rubric, A6 and D1. So the first one, page level chunking. When we are using headings, it allows for page content to be chunked in manageable segments. Using these heading styles that facilitate online reading, basically it gives instructors an opportunity to actually build a page that facilitates learning. So think rather than a big block of text like you may see in a novel, we're actually going to take a bunch of text and break it up in a way that is a little bit more digestible for our students. It fulfills D1 headings. If it is aligned, that means that these heading styles are consistently used throughout the course to aid navigation and comprehension. And we're not just relying on fonts, colors, and formats instead of heading styles. So think that these heading styles are going to allow you to make your content more organized so that it's more readable just for regular student viewing and for screen readers. So headings are basically, if they're considered a heading hierarchy, you have H1 through H4. And we want to think of headings almost like topics of an outline. So I'd rather just start with showing you an example. Oh, here it is. Okay. So here's an example of a page that uses all the headings. So Canvas by default will always give you the title as heading 1 or H1. And then as you organize your content, you want to think, okay, if I'm moving on to a new topic, then I'm going to give that its own new heading. So in this case, the example shows us vertebrates as a topic, and that's going to be H2, and then also invertebrates, so that's also H2. Two completely different topics, right, because they're opposites. But within those topics, there are going to be subtopics. So under vertebrates, you have mammals, fish, and birds. So now this is going to be H3 because this is like a subtopic of vertebrates. Under mammals, under this subsection, we have even further another subsection of these three. So we bring it down to H4. Okay, so this explains the hierarchy. What Canvas does not like is if you skip around the hierarchy. So the idea here is you're not choosing headings based on the size of the font. You have to choose it based on whether that is the correct heading that follows. So most important is going to be ranked at H1. Each time you have a new topic, it's H2. And if you have any subtopics or subsections, then it's H3, H4. You cannot skip or it will flag you. So let me show you an example. Okay, so here's a page where I have the default. Let me put it in the edit form. So as I said, the page title is always going to be H1, but I do want to have two headings on my page, one for Canvas Guide and one for online help. Both of these are heading 2 because they are new topics. But let's just say that I'm trying to show you how it would flag. So let's say I made this heading 4 because I want it to be small, and then I went to heading 2. Oh wait, sorry, other way around. Heading 2 to heading 4. Okay, so it's not going to like that. So I have heading 2 here because in a heading hierarchy, what comes after 2 would be 3. But because I made this 4, it is now alerting me that I have this issue. And it's going to offer me what action to take. I'm not going to leave it as is. I'm going to fix the heading hierarchy, and it will fix it for me, and it will make it heading 3. So now it's okay. I don't need that heading though, so I'm going to get rid of it and leave it as this. Now, not all pages need headings, especially if you have not that much content. So on this page, for instance, I have a decorative image And I just have a list of information. I don't have any organization tool that I need here to like further break up the page. So I don't actually have a heading on this page. That's fine. This is H1 and then I list it. Of course, if there was a way for me to organize this or this page went on and on with more things, I'd probably try to find a way to create a couple of headings to condense and break apart that information. Headings can be really helpful for doing just that, so that instead of giving a big block of information, you can break it up. Okay, so this is basically just how to do it. You go into the RCE as I showed you, you highlight the text that you want made into a heading, you click on the drop down menu, and then you select the heading level. You can modify the style and make them bold or italics, but ideally you only use like words or phrases. Headings should not be complete sentences. So again, we're not using headings to draw emphasis with font size. Sometimes faculty will take a whole sentence like, remember this is due Wednesday by 11:59 p.m. and then they'll use the heading to make that a large font. That's not really a heading, that is just a sentence in large font. So rather than using the heading setting, use the font size setting for that. Okay, hope this helps for using headings. Reach out if you have any questions. Take care.